I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Kaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Omni viewer, and it's happening. I suppose a little bit of a preface is in order. There's a German power metal band called Victorius, and they've been around for a little bit, but for their first few albums, they hadn't really done anything spectacular. Their first couple of albums are okay, certainly. They're not bad, but they kind of followed the standard track for what you expect from power metal. Battle songs, sword and sorcery lyrics, that sort of thing. Again, they weren't bad, but they weren't necessarily standing out. If Victorious wanted to one day become the headliners, they would have to do something to really make themselves distinct from the crowd. In 2018, they did precisely that. An EP was released entitled Dinosaur Warfare: Legend of the Powersaurus. Being an EP, it wasn't very long, only 6 tracks, one of which was a very short ambient soundtrack, but it was very interesting because the cover you see right here and that epic title wasn't just an aesthetic choice. The songs actually all work together to tell a short but nonetheless distinctive story, which was still about battles and stuff, but this time it was about an alien invasion of Earth that could only be stopped by reviving ancient dinosaur gods that ruled over the Earth millions of years ago, enhancing them with cybernetic augmentation, and then pairing them with super soldiers in order to go into battle. Now that was something that no other metal band was doing at the time, not even power metal. I reviewed the album when it came out. You can follow the links and watch the video if you want the details, but in short, I thought this was great. It was short, yes, but it delivered something that was sorely missing in the realm of power metal. Kaiju. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, there are dragons and stuff, that's great and all, but I mean, dinosaurs with robot parts, that is something that wasn't present before. And you'd be amazed how much that particular choice made a difference. But again, go watch the video if you want all the details. 2 years later, in 2020, Victorious released a full-length album entitled Space Ninjas from Hell. Not a direct sequel to Dinosaur Warfare, but definitely a spiritual successor. This one, which ran a total of 12 tracks, told a crazy tokusatsu-esque story about ninjas from the dark side of the sun, no, I did not misspeak just then, who were banished from Earth centuries ago, but then came back, and now they have laser swords, and they've tamed space sharks that they ride as steeds, and they worship a giant dragon, and it was crazy in all the right ways. Again, I reviewed this one as well, so if you want the details, watch the video. But it was, again, a very fun, very bizarre, but in all the right ways bizarre kind of album. With these 2 albums, Victorious had my undying loyalty. I was now a fan. But I also felt that the next logical step would be for a crossover between these 2. After all, they set up a very particular dichotomy here. The dinosaurs in Dinosaur Warfare were established as the good guys, whereas the Space Ninjas were set up as the bad guys. But the villains the dinosaurs were fighting and the heroes the Space Ninjas were fighting weren't necessarily as well defined. There are heroic characters mentioned in Space Ninjas from Hell, but the majority of the songs are about the villains. So it seemed like it would only be natural for these 2 to at some point get a crossover. Maybe not as the next album, but at some point. To not have it happen, I felt would be a missed opportunity. Well, on this day, it happened. Or at least, we know it's going to happen. When I hopped on YouTube this morning to see what was new, to my surprise, one of the first recommendations was the video for Dinos and Dragons, the first single from Victorious' next album, Dinosaur Warfare Part 2, The Great Ninja War. And, well, I gotta talk about it. I mean, I can't review the whole album yet because it's not actually released yet. I believe it's coming later this year. There wasn't a specific release date given. It's only up for pre-order right now. But you can bet I will be reviewing it once it's out. For now, though, I just want to talk about the video. And my word, this video was what I needed this morning. Now let's start with the music. The music is, after all, the main point of this thing because it's an album, Victorious is a band, they make music, of course. Now, Victorious does have a particular sound that is pretty standard for power metal, I will admit. It's heavily driven by keyboards, it's got those crazy guitar riffs that, if they weren't so well structured, you'd think the guy was just hitting notes at random. The drums are really fast. But it all comes together quite well. And I only think you could possibly confuse it for a different band if you weren't really listening to it. Like if you were only listening casually and you had a Victorious song, a Glory Hammer song, and a Grail Knight song all play in rapid succession, you might not be able to tell them apart just if you had it on low and weren't really paying attention. But the sound, I still think, is distinctly theirs. They're still adapting it since they've adopted this new direction of going in the super campy Kaiju tokusatsu direction. So, as the music is developing but still maintaining a sound, we also look at the lyrics. Now, as you can imagine, for a song called Dinos and Dragons, the focus is on Dinos and Dragons. I believe, there is no track listing released as yet, as far as I've seen, but I'm pretty certain this song is probably somewhere at the beginning. It might be the first official song on the whole album. It sounds like it's an introductory song meant to set the stage, bring us into this world where the dinosaurs and the space ninjas are going to meet. So, as introductory songs that set a stage go, it really does set the stage well. The lyrics do exactly what they are supposed to do in that regard, bringing us into this world and letting us know that whatever comes next, it's gonna be epic. Now, naturally, you can't call a song Dinos and Dragons without actually featuring Dinos and Dragons in it. And yes, this video does have Dinos and Dragons. Victorious didn't really get any music videos for the first Dinosaur Warfare EP. The most they got was a lyric video for Lasertooth Tiger, which really didn't have anything about it visually that conveyed what was on the album. For Space Ninjas, they did get a music video for Supersonic Samurai, where they actually did make use of the fact that it's about a particular character in a particular world. You had the eponymous Supersonic Samurai there, fighting against the band, actually, who were positioned as the Space Ninjas. For the story, the Samurai is actually one of the good guys, and the Space Ninjas are the bad guys. Now, for this album, it seems that the band is once again positioning itself to be the heroes. The Dinosauriers or Dinosaur Riders, whichever you choose to call them, fighting against the Space Ninjas. So naturally, they're alongside the dinosaurs, the Space Ninjas have their dragon, and, well, they're clearly going for an aesthetic that's more, we want cool movie dinosaurs as opposed to scientifically accurate dinosaurs, and I am 100% okay with that. After all, scientifically accurate dinosaurs change every 5 years, but fictional dinosaurs are forever. And so will these ones be. Clearly there is a Jurassic Park influence, particularly with the raptors, but they still look good. Well, they look good for what the video is able to accomplish. I'll get to that in a moment. And of course you have the ninjas present, including the requisite female ninja, all of which is set in this weird green screen, post-apocalyptic setting. It's the kind of video that you would expect for a song like this. you gotta interpret it that particular way. And that's exactly what the video does. Now, I said I'd get to the special effects, may as well address it. See, here's the thing. The special effects in this music video are bad. Like, undeniably they are bad. The CGI Dinos and Dragons aren't quite photorealistic and move kind of with a stiff, unnatural way. The outfits look kind of cheap. The whole set is obviously done on a blank green screen. It is the sort of video that clearly they did not have a Jurassic Park-sized budget to make. But the thing is, I don't mind. I actually think that makes the video even better, because you gotta look at the context here. Dinosaur Warfare and Space Ninjas from Hell were inspired by stuff like Henshin series and Kaiju Eiga and classic samurai flicks. Those kind of movies that had a very particular style to them because they didn't have those big budgets, but they did the most with what they could based on those budgets, and as a result wound up creating a visual style, or actually several visual styles, that were distinctly their own, and which is a large part of what makes them what they are, and what draws fans like us to them. So, they're not necessarily the best special effects in those regards, but they are exactly the kind of special effects that those particular things need. And it's kind of going in that direction, this video. It's inspired by the Super Sentais, the Ultramans, the Gameras, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragons, all those kind of things. So naturally, if they couldn't quite have it be of a proper, like, Avengers Endgame kind of effects level, they were gonna do what they could, and they made the most of it. I really think they do, at least. Which is part of what lends this video so much charm, and what makes me think, yeah, this is going to be fun. And that's another thing I want to discuss. A large part of why I like power metal is because it's fun. I have fun listening to it, I have fun watching the videos they make. It's a fun genre, and I know that there is a subsect of people out there who kind of belittle power metal for that. They're like, that's not real heavy metal. Heavy metal's supposed to be angry. It's supposed to punch you in the face repeatedly when you're listening to it. And you know what? If that's what they prefer, that's no skin off my nose. Music is an emotionally driven medium, and sometimes anger is the appropriate emotion. But the thing is, I don't believe that you should be angry all the time. Experiencing only negative emotions the whole way through, that's not healthy. Plus, I like to be happy. I like to have fun. I like to have a good time. And power metal delivers on that. Power metal is designed to get your blood pumping, to make you feel good about yourself and about the way things are going. Whether or not it's actually playing out, you can at least provide a little bit of escapism for yourself by listening to power metal. Plus, more and more these days, we're seeing power metal bands starting to acknowledge the fact that they are a little campy, but they don't care. They're having fun too. Victorius in particular, like, if they were a band that took themselves 112% seriously, they would not have written albums like this. They would have tried getting political or doing some sort of social commentary or working out problems they have left over with their parents or their teachers or whatever. But instead, they're just getting together and saying, all right, now we have a ninja with a laser sword riding on top of a shark going after a cybernetic Tyrannosaurus Rex. And that's our song. I mean, maybe it's one of the songs, I don't know. I only have this one to go on. But that's the basic idea behind it. And you know what? That's exactly what I want. That is right up my alley. I kind of think that Kaiju, Tokusatsu, all that kind of stuff is sorely lacking in music in general. And seeing that Victorius is sort of leading the way in terms of bringing that genre into music, I mean, I'm all for that. Like I said, I have decided that this is one of my new favorite bands, simply because they are going in this direction, and they are embracing it. And it's the sincerity with which they're embracing it that I think really wins me over. I've brought this up many times before, but I feel that it bears repeating. There's this idea of sincerity versus cynicism when it comes to pop culture. And in particular, when it comes to high concept stuff like this, I feel that it works best when it is sincere. Because sometimes there's this tendency to sort of do a wink and a nudge at the audience and say, you know this is stupid, right? And by extension, that kind of puts forth the message that maybe the people making this don't really care that much. They're just... It's hard to articulate when you're just doing this sort of thing on the fly. But, I mean, think of it this way. You have two superhero movies, let's say hypothetically. One of them adapts the comic book it's based on completely straight, accepts the rules that are being played by, accepts that the hero is the hero, the villain is the villain, and in the end, the good guy will always beat the bad guy and get the girl. But the other movie is not taking the concept seriously, constantly poking fun at everything about the scenario, saying, you know, your mask looks stupid, it's silly to think you can solve all of life's problems by punching a bad guy in the face, that sort of thing. In the end, it's the one that's made with sincerity that will last through the ages. While the one that was being cynical about its premise to the point where you wonder whether or not they even wanted to make the movie in the first place is going to fall into obscurity and at best be held up as an example of what not to do. I feel that Victorius is being sincere in this. They're having fun, yes. They know it's campy, yes. But that doesn't mean they're not going to put their all into it. If they're going to make a campy story with a ridiculous concept, they're going to make it the best campy story with a ridiculous concept that they can, and put the best possible music to it that they can. That's the vibe I'm getting, at least, and from the look of it, I think it's true. I really do believe it. So, the band still has my attention. It still has my loyalty. I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to see them in concert, because, I mean, they're way the heck over in Europe, and European power metal bands rarely, if ever, come over to the States. But if I ever got the chance, I would see them live. And, well, I'm looking forward to seeing how Dinosaur Warfare Part 2 The Great Ninja War plays out. If this video is anything to go by, it's gonna be good. Like, really, really good. So, just wanted to let you guys know. Again, go check out the reviews for the first couple of albums if you're curious, and it'll serve as a good primer for when this arrives. I don't know when it'll arrive, like I said, no release date just yet, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long. Maybe they'll time it for the release of Jurassic World Dominion. Anyway though, just wanted to share my thoughts on what turned out to be a great surprise this morning. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off.
Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Kaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.